working with the parts that she sung, but also with the parts that Tony O'Hara was singing and Guy Oliver. And I had Tony's demo vocals, which I still had from the China Blues sessions, running also. And I was listening, and it was so good. I thought, okay, I need to keep his vocals in for the biggest part of the song, and then add the other voices. And that turned into a way to make it initially like a kind of duet with his daughter. When he was alive, they have never sung together. Hi, I'm Michael Riesenbeck. You may know me from my solo projects, or China Blue, or Snake Union, my Duran tribute band, or Fanfields, Toto tribute album. And you're watching LiveProg.
Welcome to another LiveProg interview, podcast, whatever you want to call it. and this time, for the first time on a location I've never done this before. Well, that's not completely true. I've done it on Zoom, but not in real life. But we are here at LiveProg HQ, in my own studio, nonetheless, with none other than Michael Riesenbeck. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm excellent. All the way in Eindhoven.
How was the drive to Eindhoven?
Yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah? I mean, it's Black Saturday, right?
Yeah, I had no issues.
No issues, okay.
No, at all.
That's a good thing, yeah. There's a comedian in Eindhoven. He says that the best thing that's coming from Amsterdam is the train to Eindhoven.
He's not a fan of his own place then.
I think so. Well, no, he lives in Eindhoven.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not here, of course, to talk about our cities. We're here to talk about the music. Music is a little bit how we got connected, because you picked up on a video I did, and I picked up on that you were part of the MHX podcast.
Yeah.
And of course, you're wearing the shirt, Snake Union.
Yes.
Yes. The Duran tribute band.
Correct.
We'll get to that. But you also have your own music. So let's go back to kind of the beginning. What is your background in music?
Well, I started listening to music when I was 12, and that was in 1982. That's a long time ago, yes. My dad had recorded the Veronica Pop Night 82. And there was a concert with Golden Earring, Doe Maar Normaal, and Vitesse. And I put on the video the next day, and the concert started with Vitesse, which was a high-speed Dutch rock and roll band. And I was really young. I was looking at it, and the moment they started playing, I was floored. The energy, the interaction on stage of the musicians, and what I later understood quite special, a singing drummer, or a drumming singer, just how you see it. It was captivating. I was immediately I was sucked into the television screen, and there was so much energy going on that is what I wanted to do. I wanted to play drums originally.
Okay.
So some years passed, and I had saved some money, and I went to the music store with my grandfather to buy a drum kit. And then we got there, and I wanted to buy a drum kit, but I didn't have enough money. So then I decided to buy a guitar. I don't know why. The thing was shiny. I think that's probably it. So I bought initially a guitar and an amp, and started playing along with Vitesse because I liked that music so much. And then that evolved. Some years later, I did buy a drum kit and started playing drums also. And that's also when I started to write music, because in that time, for the first time, you had cassette decks with two cassettes, which had a overdub function. So you could play something like a drum beat or something, and then add an instrument like a guitar part. So that's when I started to write and to record, and that evolved into playing in bands, initially as drummer, and then into writing more material. And at one point I had so much material which we did play with the bands, but I wasn't really happy about the end result. So then I decided to do it myself and record and ask other people to play along with it. And that what happened at a certain point, I think it was in 86, 87, something like that, is that I went to the library, and they had all these second-hand albums, vinyl albums, you know,
I know,
like these.
Yeah.
And I didn't have much money, so I always went through the boxes, looking at the covers of what I thought was looking interesting, because I didn't know all these bands. And then at one point I was scrolling through the boxes, and I saw the 4th album by Toto, and that attracted me in some way. So I bought that album and put it on, and had exactly the same what I had with Vitesse. I was listening, this is really good. And I was instantly fan.
Okay.
So that's how I got into Toto. And if we fast forward a little bit, I was making a lot of music, getting better on drums, on the guitar, and I think it's around 1993, 4, something like that, that MP3 comes up and the internet connections get better. So there was this mailing list for fans of Toto, and we were writing, sending emails, and then if you send an email, everyone in the list would see that. And there were quite some musicians on that list. And with MP3 coming up, we thought maybe it's a cool idea to make like a cover of all these musicians all over the world, to play their part, send that to someone else who adds their part, and then create a song. And that eventually turned into the first Fanfields Toto tribute album.
Okay.
So that's how it all started, basically.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned one tribute band that you are part of, but you also mentioned another band that you also would do a sort of a tribute band of, Vitesse.
Yeah. Yeah, Vitesse, the band stopped existing in '95, and we had some fans on the website, on the message board there, which, like with the Toto stuff, were fans of the band. But we wanted to play that music even for one time, live. So we created the band Vitesse, which is in Dutch Vitesse forever, just Vitesse for a little while, roughly translated.
Yeah.
And we decided to do one gig for a good cause in a big theater or big concert hall. And then we invited all kinds of ex-Vitesse band members. Mm-hmm. And most of them accepted the offer and played with us one evening. We recorded a double CD and a DVD, which was released on Phonos at the time, which was a company that re-released out-of-print albums from Dutch artists, but they also released our live DVD. And that was the #1 selling album, so that was really weird for us. And since then the band has continued to exist, but we play maybe once every 2-3 years.
Okay.
When we feel like it, then we pick up the band again and start to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, these tribute bands form an important part of your life. Because you added a third one, Snake Union.
Snake Union. Yeah. Yeah.
So But what makes it so fun to be in a tribute band?
Well, you don't have to write the material. that saves a lot of time. But it's all bands that I admire, and I enjoy playing the music. And if you have a couple of people who are, in the same mindset as you are, then it's really cool to figure out how these songs were created and how to recreate that sound live. So it's just a lot of fun to play. It's what you said, that it's already my third tribute band. It didn't occur to me until recently, basically, because I only think about music, and whether it's covers or tribute or my own music, it doesn't matter that much. But it is really a different mindset to play tribute songs or to write your own material. And I think I like the balance to do both. Because if I write my own material and arrange it and record it, then I have to be really creative. But it's also really, you get pretty tired by doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's really rewarding, but it takes a lot of energy and time and money to release something like the new album. And I'm a perfectionist, so if I release something, I want it to be perfect. And that's why my solo albums take roughly about 10 years to finish.
Yeah. Yeah, because, well, you mentioned it, it's not just tribute bands, of course. You do have your original music.
Yeah.
I do saw something, did say something, I gotta say it correctly, on your website about, I don't know if it's the first original band or the second you played in. Alibi,
yeah.
which was heavy rock in Dutch.
Yeah, that was not originally, but it ended up. It was actually my second original band, sort of. We had Fingers Crossed, which was a cover band, but we added original songs later on. Mm-hmm. Alibi was basically the same, but at one point we got a new guitar player and a new keyboard player, and they had written all kinds of songs in Dutch. And so we thought it was a really cool idea to do something different than all the other rock bands. It wasn't metal, it was really hard rock, and just try to release and write and release songs in Dutch in that kind of music. And we did that. We created one CD, and then the band split up. But
okay.
It was a really interesting thing to try.
I can imagine that. Yeah. Well, when I read it, it was like, okay, that's interesting. Also, the title of the album, Natasha and andere stukken, Natasha and other pieces in English, but it reminds me a little bit of another well-known Dutch band, Doe maar. Doris Day and andere stukken, Doris Day and other pieces. So
yeah, I haven't. I didn't think of the title, so I'm not responsible. I think. But it has similarities. Yeah, correct.
Of course, Doe maar has been a different genre, so
yeah,
quite. Yeah. Okay, let's go to your solo albums, because the funny thing is, I've been listening to Courage quite a bit. And then it was yesterday, and I was like, wait a second, maybe I should listen to the previous ones too, to get an idea. Yeah. Unfortunately, in this case, I was happy your music was on streaming, so I could listen to it. Yeah. And I think I started with the first one, Shouting Silence. Yeah. And I was listening to it, and I was like, okay, this sounds really good. I'm enjoying this. And then I moved on to 2, and I had the same experience, so I was like, why didn't I listen to this before?
I don't know.
No,
well, it's not prog metal or prog rock. It has influences of those genres, because I like those myself. So that is something that is really difficult with my kind of music, because I'm not prog enough for the prog fans. I'm not hard rock enough for the hard rock fans, and it's too hard for common radio. And so I'm in between everything, in a way.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that there's been discussions what is prog, what is not, and I believe Stephen Wilson made a statement about that, and I don't know exactly what it was anymore, but what I understood from the whole thing was that it's basically anything that's not pop music kind of can fall under the big prog umbrella. Because despite the fact that your music is not prog, the Dutch site Progwereld reviewed all of your albums.
Yeah. I to be honest, I missed the first two reviews. so I got in touch with them regarding a review of Courage, and then they said, telling them, okay, I know my music isn't prog, but maybe you are interested in listening to it because it definitely has prog influences. You could say that the song "Hard to Desire" is pure prog, really. And then they responded, yeah, we're glad to, because we already reviewed your first two albums. I was like, whoa. I looked and there were all positive reviews.
I read them too. Yeah. It was a lot of fun to read them because it kind of shows that it doesn't have to be per se the whole prog thing.
Yeah.
But if it's music that people who listen to prog can appreciate, they are still willing to review it, and that's the mindset I also had. I mean, when we got in touch about the music, and I had to listen first because I hadn't listened yet.
Yeah.
And then I listened and I was like, this is not really prog, this is more, I heard some Journey influences and those kinds of bands. And I was like, I don't know if I should do that. And but at the same time, I really enjoyed the music and I really thought this is a good album. So that's why I figured, maybe at least we can do an interview.
Yeah.
And, that people can at least find out about you that haven't already, and maybe people will pick it up and will say, "Hey, this is nice music."
I hope so. The reason for me to release albums is not to make money, because you're only losing money on albums. It costs so much money to create. But these are all like musical babies. So I want the world to listen to what I created. So the more people listen to it, the happier I get. And it is interesting because since you asked me to do the interview and Progworld did the review, I'm getting more and more requests for reviews by prog sites. So that's really cool. But it also says a lot about prog people, that they are so open-minded that they are willing to invest time to listen to my music.
Yeah,
and that's really a big compliment, of course.
Yeah. Well, I think you absolutely deserve it because it is absolutely great music. You have the albums with you.
Yeah.
So maybe we can, if you're on YouTube or watching this on YouTube, you're lucky you can see them. If you're on Spotify listening to this, I'd say go to YouTube and watch it. But maybe you can show the albums, the first two.
The first two, yes, sure. So this is Shout in Silence. Will it fit? Yeah. Which is the first one.
With the Edward Munch cover.
Yeah, I wasn't that original at that point. I thought the title was original, so I figured that would, illustrate that a little bit. But it was really at the start of my career, so I did everything myself, including the artwork. But the funny thing is that I was really a nobody. In the sense that I had released the first Fanfields and I did a lot of sessions for especially American bands. So some people could have known my name for something, but I wasn't a household name or something. And then I got an email from Paris Records, which is an American label, and they heard the music. I don't know where, but they listened to the music somewhere, and. Because I was planning on releasing it by myself, like with the other albums I also did. And then they offered me a contract worldwide for this album.
Oh.
So that was like a big surprise, and really interesting, because then you have to think about money, because that's a way to earn some money, and I was pretty young, and I was really bold, so I made a really good deal. I had no idea what the normal prices would be per sold CD, so I was just negotiating and throwing a high number on, and they accepted. Later on, I heard that it was really exceptional that it was so high. And but the interesting thing for me was that they have this worldwide distribution network. And if you are a guy from Holland, how are you going to get into shops? Maybe in Holland that would work, but not in America, in Japan, in China, all those countries. And they had the network, so they picked up the album and sold shiploads of it. Really, it sold really well. I think around 5,000 copies.
Okay.
And that's also the first time that I got in touch with what it feels like to be more known than being unknown. Because I was getting emails from people in Japan and in Australia sending photos of my album in the local music store.
Okay.
That was really special to experience.
Yeah.
So that was my first album, immediately picked up by a big label. So that was really cool. But then you also run into the issue that you are one of the many. So they will not give you the focus that you think you deserve.
Yeah.
So although it sold pretty well, it at one point it stopped, and then I was already working on the next Fanfields and on the next solo album. Then I thought, okay, I will try the next one, which is a nice bridge to this one. I will try to do the second one myself, like I originally planned with Shout and Silence. So the artwork a friend of mine designed, the front side and the back side, and this was the first album which had like a theme. The title is 2. And it's the second album, so you could think that's because it's the second album, but it was really more about duality. Things come in twos. I was thinking about a lot of things: black, white, good, bad. A lot of things come in twos. So that's what became the theme of the album, and also in the artwork. Because if you look at the front, you see this really nice drawing of a Chinese woman, which looks really pretty. I cannot show it now because it's in a booklet. But if you, it's sealed. But if you open the booklet and turn it around, then you see the same woman, but then as she really is, and that's not so pretty. So that was one, more comical way to illustrate the duality, which was the theme on the album. So that one I did the artwork myself, except for the cover drawing. I did do a professional photo shoot to have a photo per song, but the design of the booklet I did myself, and I released it myself. It was crowdfunded, and by that time, this was 2014. The physical CDs sales were already down, so I have boxes full of that album.
Okay.
Because it didn't sell that well, but like I said, I don't need this for the money, so it enabled me to let my music wild in the world. But it is also a reason why I decided later on to start publishing it all on Spotify also, because you can be really stubborn. I think physical CDs, but people are now listening differently to music, and so for this one, this was released a few years before I made it available on all the digital platforms. With the new one, with Courage, I immediately went digital, because that's the way that people consume music nowadays.
Yeah, but you still did a physical disc.
Yeah, it's I would ideally I would have released vinyl.
Vinyl, yeah.
But that's really expensive, and you have to make a selection of songs that fit on vinyl. So I have 12 songs on this. So then I'm thinking, okay, which one should I drop to have it fit on vinyl? All these songs belong on this album, so I cannot skip a song from this.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't do that. But I myself, I want to have something physical in my hands. I want to read the booklet, see the photos, and especially with this album, we really went way out of our way to make really cool photos. Have the really cool design from professional people. So it's called Courage, and for me that is displayed in a lot of ways. I'm a control freak, so with the two album, I let that go a little bit. On the first album, I did all the drumming myself. On the second one, I had my buddy Rob play all the drums, and on this one, and I mixed and mastered it myself. And on this one, I decided to try to be courageous and ask other people I trust, to do a lot of these tasks for me, like mixing, mastering, making the photos, doing the artwork. So I had to let it go.
Okay.
And it was really scary initially. But if you work with the right people, then it pays off.
Yeah.
Because it gives you a lot of rest. That's not a really good word, but it really makes me more relaxed, that I can have people. For instance, the artwork. I know a little bit with Photoshop, but I cannot make it like this. So I have a top designer which I asked to do this. So they can do this much better than I can. And I wanted this album to be the absolute best that I could do on every level. Because we're all getting older, and when you get older, a lot of people around you start to fall, go somewhere else. So you don't know how much time you have. So I really want this. If this would be my last album, this should be my best one. And that's why I spent an enormous amount of money on making this. But it's here, and I'm proud.
Yeah, I can imagine. So it's nice to see that the titles have, in a way, different meanings than you initially might think. Because I was like, it's your second album, so you probably didn't have another title on it, I might, or something. But
it's a cheapo title.
It is, and also, especially with two, then I would almost say it's a sort of a concept album.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. So again, that kind of comes closer to the whole prog thing. So
yeah, that's not consciously, but it happens.
No. Yeah. But it's a good thing that you did your third album also as a physical one, because otherwise, you would be in your collection and you would have number 1, number 2. Yeah, number 3, you got to go to Spotify.
That's the thing.
That's and also I mean, there are not a lot of record stores anymore, unfortunately. But you are right. People consume music differently. People discover music differently. I mean, I always still hope that through my videos people discover new music. But at the same time, most people just get their inspirations for music from the streaming services.
Yeah.
I mean, you discovered Toto when you were in a record store and you saw the cover.
Yeah.
That's not working these days anymore. I personally think it's a shame, because I love the artwork.
Yeah.
And like you, I discovered also music in record stores throughout my life. When I was younger, it was vinyl. When I was a little bit older, it was CDs. But it was always the artwork that got the first attraction.
Yeah.
Then you listen, and then you find out, hey, this is great music.
Yeah.
And then you're happy. And nowadays it's, Spotify.
If I have to say something in favor of the digital platforms, especially Spotify, is that it does allow you, if you play an album, at one time Spotify basically knows a little bit of what your taste is. So it could be that you are introduced to music which you would not know of unless you were playing it on Spotify. I have it quite a lot, that I play some music and then the playlist ends and then something else comes up and I think, oh, that sounds good. I didn't know that. So that's one positive thing.
Yeah.
At least.
At least, yeah. Yeah. You mentioned that you worked with several people. Also, on your first, at least on your first album, you also worked with several musicians doing parts on it. You worked with Rob Boshuizen as a drummer, which is cool. I've had a pleasure of sitting next to him at a time lock rehearsal, watching him play, which was really impressive. He's a great guy. You have a lot of great musicians on the albums. Also, a lot of singers. Yeah. The only name I recognized from Courage was Robert Soeterboek.
Yeah, that could be, yeah.
How did you come up with him and why did you pick him for that song?
Robert and I go back a long while. We used to play in a band. That's probably 25 years ago, maybe even longer. I was really young. And those guys were like the generation older, and I learned a lot from that experience. And after that we lost touch. I went to do my things. He went to do Arion and all kinds of other stuff. And on Courage, I had this one song, which is actually the title song, Courage. And I had a pretty good idea of what type of voice I wanted for this song. And when I started to think about the type of voice, like a little bit of a bluesy voice with a little rasp on it, but with power, then initially I thought of Robert. So when it got to recording the vocals, I got in touch with him. But he was really busy with Plan 9. So it had to be put on the back burner for a little, until he was ready with Plan 9. And then we worked on this one. And it was a really fun experience because to explain a little bit of how I work, how I write and record. I write all the songs, I write all the music. And I also demo all instruments and most of the vocals. I can sing, I'm not a lead singer, but I can sing for a demo. And typically I'm not that good in creating melody lines and vocal lyrics. So I always work with someone else from here or from the States. And then I record a demo of the vocals of how I want them to be sung, for instance. And same with the bass play parts or with the drum parts. But then I ask, for instance, drummers for a certain song because I think their style would fit the song best. On this album I work with Brandon Klopp from Fanfields from the US and with Rob on some certain songs. And I really picked which drummer would fit the song best. And the same goes for the bassist. But I know they will add their own thing. I make like a basic thing and they add their own style to it. But with the vocals I'm really picky. So I demo it, I record it, and of course there will be variations of how someone sings, and that's okay. And that was true for all songs on the album, except for the one with Robert, because Robert is also a bit stubborn, and that's a good thing, because he thinks like a singer. I try to think like a singer, but I'm not really a singer. So he wasn't comfortable with what we wrote. Mm. The biggest part of the lyrics were okay, but the melodies it just didn't resonate with him. And then if a musician, especially if a singer starts to sing things they don't feel comfortable with, it will not sound good. So I told him, go ahead, make of it whatever you want. And he went, and because the song has a little bit of a country vibe in the start, that was basically his start point. So he more or less rewrote most of the parts that we did, and that is it really for the best, because the song has become so much better. And what he's really good at is to because he's such a great singer that he can steer the song. So the song starts really mellow, and it builds up, and in his singing style he accentuates that. So that makes the song so much better. But it was a really fun experience, because that's also a bit of courage, you could say, because I had to let it go.
Yeah.
Just, go ahead, make whatever you feel sings for you, and that's what he did.
Okay, that's a nice story. How these songs come together, it's really great. I mean, you work, of course, with these different singers, with these different musicians. Is it difficult to pick a singer for a song?
Yeah. That's the most difficult part of my solo albums, and sometimes you could have songs where I try several singers and it just doesn't work out. I've had it with one song on the album. I tried 3 singers, I think, before the 4th one was the one which was really good for the song. I tend to work with singers who I've worked with before. For instance, Lars Edval was on 3 songs on the album, and I worked with him on Fanfields. So I know what he's capable of and what his voice can do. So that were some songs that were an easy fit. But some others I really had to think and look in my network for okay, who will be suitable to do this song. And then if you find a singer, you have to ask them, and they need to be interested also. They need to like the song.
Yeah.
But I was really lucky that everyone just really digged the songs that I selected for them. So, but yeah, selecting the right singer for the song, that's the biggest challenge, I think, in my music. Yeah.
Well, it definitely paid off, because, like I said, I enjoyed the album very, very much. So. You mentioned that your solo albums take quite a lot of time before they come, and I figured that because on Courage you work with a singer who passed away in 2019.
Yeah.
You worked also with him on 2, I believe.
Correct. Yeah. We're talking about Tony Mills.
Yeah.
Tony Mills used to be in Shy and in TNT, so big name. Tony and I started up a band called China Blue with Eric Reno, the keyboard player, and we did that in early 90s, I think. We wrote all the material, and then eventually an album got released, but then I had already left. Josh Ramos took over from The Storm. Really good album. I'm on some songs, I think, or some parts of what I played stayed on.
Yeah.
But for the 2 album, I wanted to release the version of the song Passions, which we did on China Blue, because even though they had a really nice version, I thought that the demo version we did was better. So that's why I added that to the 2 album, and then Tony was still alive. And then came the time that I was working on Courage, and Tony had died a few years ago. And I wanted to pay tribute to him, because I still miss the guy. Which is weird after so much time.
Yeah.
But getting to know him did have an impact on me as a musician and as a person.
Yeah.
And so I had already planned to re-record Changing Ways, the song which he sang on. But the idea was basically to have other singers sing his parts. And then when we were working on the song, I got an email from his ex-wife saying that his daughter was also singing. His daughter is Holly Mills. And when her father passed, she was really young, I think 13, 14, something like that. So she started singing after that moment. And then I was thinking, okay, it would be really nice to have her then also sing on this song. So I was working with the parts that she sung, but also with the parts that Tony O'Hara was singing and Guy Oliver. And I had Tony's demo vocals, which I still had from the China Blues sessions, running also. And I was listening, and it was so good. I thought, okay, I need to keep his vocals in for the biggest part of the song, and then add the other voices. And that turned into a way to make it initially like a kind of duet with his daughter. When he was live, they have never sung together. No. So that was the ultimate tribute in my mind. So that's what we did, and we recorded. And that's what ended up on the album, and it's really special. And when it was released, his wife, his ex-wife, sent me a message that she was so happy, that she was crying when she was listening to them singing together. And music is emotion, so you want to have these kinds of effect on people. And this is maybe a bit extreme then, but it is so cool that with the technology nowadays that you can do these kinds of things. Yeah. So that's why you kept his vocals, and then if you've listened to the song, then you also have listened to the end of the song, where it goes still for a few seconds, and then you hear Tony talking. That was really a mistake of sorts, because I was playing back the song, and I had done to get some coffee or something, so I came back to the end of the song and it was playing, and then it was Tony saying something about the session that he just did, and it was so personal that I thought, oh, this is so cool, I will keep this in. So it's like a little Easter egg in the song. Yeah. So what back then was considered a mistake is now something, turning it into even a more personal and emotional song. Yeah, it's you have to listen to it. I would advise you to do so. If you listen to it, this is really a difficult song for a singer to sing. It's really high. And so this was, like he said, the first song in many years that completely screwed up his voice. That's basically what he says. So that was something so personal that I thought, okay, I'm going to keep this in. Yeah. So that's how that song evolved. Nice. So there's, as you can see, there's so many stories behind the music. Every song has a story. That you never, you never always hear. That's why interviews like this, like these, are so important, because else you can only listen to the music and you don't know these things. That's why interviews are important still in this day and age. Yeah. Definitely, and that's the main reason why I'm doing them, because I love to hear these stories, and I can imagine that there are a lot of people who are interested in these stories as well, and I know that there are of course a lot of musicians that are not famous, big names, and that people tend to watch the big names, but I found myself that, it's nice to talk to the big names. I recently did an interview with Arjen Lucassen. Yeah. I think we can say he's a big name. Yeah, a big guy also. So it's awesome. I have to hold back the interview because the record company asked me to hold on because, the new album is still a while away. Yeah. But it was great to talk to him. But at the same time, I've also done interviews with not so famous people. But these stories are just as great.
And when I hear stories, when you hear your stories, I'm like, wow, this is really amazing. I love it to hear what goes into an album, and it is so nice that when people know that little bit extra, it can really give an album a much deeper meaning, a much deeper dimension when you listen to it.
Yeah.
So your solo album is done, it's out.
Yeah.
How do you look back on the process?
I'm still trying to find my energy back. No, that's not really. It's really rewarding because basically everything that I envisioned beforehand with this album came to life. So my idea was to make the best album I could, and this is the best album I could make.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I'm not inspired to do another one, because as a musician you need to keep on creating or playing. So first we're going to do the last of the Fanfields albums, which is Fanfields 4, and then that project is done.
Okay.
So we should get into that later this year. But I'm already writing for my next solo album.
Okay. So it's not going to be another 10 years.
I hope not.
I hope not. No. But of course you have still projects to keep busy with.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, the Fanfields album, like Snake Union.
Yeah.
So But it's good to hear that. There may be another album on the horizon.
Yeah.
Which is something to look forward to. So I hope people will keep an eye on your musical activities, follow them, enjoy them, and once again, thank you very much for your time, for sharing these stories, for showing your music,
Thank
for
you.
driving all the way from Amsterdam to Eindhoven.
Happy to do so.
And thank you for a nice chat.
Thank you.